I can hear you.
Solid.
All
Yes,
right,
yes.
all right. So let us move on a sprint, you know? Make us sprint it out
Yes, I.
before this thing brought down again.
True. Let me
Okay,
sprint it
so
down. Go forward.
I'm
Yes,
I'm on I'm on I'm on check say if we're gonna talk about liberation, we should try to speak about it in terms of liberation from what and liberation to do what.
exactly.
And to even speak about liberation as African people, why do we speak about it now when are supposed to be emancipated? What is the difference? Is there a difference?
Apparently, there is.
So perhaps we should try to clarify it. What is the difference between emancipation and liberation?
Um, the difference between emancipation and liberation.
Yeah,
Emancipation is a concept of something that was given, something that was given as a like to say like the institution of slavery. It lasted itself, and certain people had an epiphany that it wasn't a moral thing to do, so they decided to emancipate their slaves or the people that they had captive. Where liberation is is something that was liberation is something that not only is inherent, but it's something that was taken, like taken by fighting for, you know. Like
force.
I often say, like every inch, every inch that I have, and our ancestors fought for it. It wasn't given, but it seems to
Exactly.
be. Yeah, yes, I. That was how I would say would be the difference. Yes, I.
And you know, to follow up what I saying, we could find examples. For example, we can say the Haitians never
Exactly.
fought for any emancipation. The Haitians
Yeah.
achieved their liberation,
Yes.
and we have to use that as a comparison between what the Haitians did and what has happened to the black man in the general Western world, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And the model is there for liberation, you know, but I think we are more conditioned to still being subservient. We're still conditioned to be dependent, and that cycle need to change by changing maybe how we use the language. Because the language is what they give us, you know. And if we can't use it properly, we're going to always be trapped.
Right.
So one of the things we have to work out really is the different ways liberation express itself. We can even go to chemistry, you know,
Hmm.
and look at the electrons. That electrons can be liberated to create new matter.
Right.
You know, it's something that is a word that we don't use often in our own discourse. We talk about free, but what is free? Is
What
there
is
anything
free?
that is free?
No. Everything works according to certain principles. Everything works according to certain laws. Everything has a reaction. Everything has a causality to it. Nothing
Well,
just happens randomly, even though it seems to be random. But everything is, you know,
yeah.
so everything is aligned. Nothing is actually free that way.
And there is an idea now that we have been told that freedom. We have been
Right.
introducing the idea to freedom now.
Hmm.
And a Rastaman will tell you that there is no consciousness in being dumb and free.
Right. It's a misnomer. They don't go together.
So I keep saying to the idea, it's a language we have to get around, Roman language, and create our own expression now through our own black thinking.
Yes.
So the liberation is also one aspect, but the other thing Josh mentioned now was of the mind, of the
Right.
pigmented mind. Now, maybe Josh can help it out near how do we conceptualize the mind? If you're trying to liberate something, we have to have an idea what it is.
Yeah,
So we need some definitions. We have to create our definitions then of the mind. What is the mind to the African? What is the mind to the Rastaman? What does it mean to lose your mind? What does it mean to have somebody control your mind? Where do we locate the mind in our black structure? Where is the mind?
Where's the mind seated?
Yes. Because how do we liberate something that we don't know where it is?
Right. Is the mind is the mind the brain?
All right, that's a good
Or is the
starting
mind
point.
different? Is the mind separate from the brain? Is the mind internal or is it external?
Wonderful questions, my brethren.
Hmm.
Wonderful questions. Because this is how we have to probe to interrogate our own makeup.
Right.
You know? Because we talk about emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. We know the cliche.
Right.
But we have been singing that for so long and nothing has really changed at a certain level.
Yes.
So perhaps we have to revisit what these words really mean. So, for example, now, when you say mind, the African always spoke about spirit. Is there a
Yes.
difference? Is there a difference between your mind and your spirit?
Hmm.
You know, and where are these things situated? And do we have a soul?
And are
So
they
these are
all?
aspects. You know, the European world has given us these terms and they bundle them together. I'm not sure we know what they mean separately.
And sometimes they use them interchangeably.
And sometimes,
Sometimes they use those terms interchangeably.
exactly, exactly. So what does it
Yeah.
mean to the African? What does it mean to black people? Don't we have a steady understanding of these things, or it moves every time they change the meaning?
Uh, I think it moves every time they change the meaning, or one's interpreted according to where they are at the time.
Right, we
You
need
know,
we need something more we need something more concrete than that.
um, is the like is the mind the seat of thinking?
Or is it the brain that is the seat of thinking?
Is the mind and the brain separate from each other? Is that two things, or are they
Okay.
interchangeable?
Are they two things that are connected?
Yes. Are they two things that
One
are
thing, one
connected?
thing, one thing we're certain of: the brain is in our head, right?
Yes.
All right. So we can work from that position now to identify what is the mind
Yeah. The brain is in
by
our
using our
head.
brain.
Yeah, the brain is in our head, but sometimes it's also it's also put forward um as if the mind is in your head as well. Like
So
the mind is supposed to include like the seat of your conscious, your subconscious, your unconscious levels, because we're told that there's different levels of
of the
there's
mind,
different levels of the mind. Yeah, they say
right? And
your conscious level, your subconscious level, like there's different levels of your mind operates on different levels.
wonderful.
Yeah, so the
Is that
mind
happening in? Is that happening inside our head or outside our heads?
it's like the mind seems to be like a mystical thing, almost a metaphysical thing. You know, like it's
Suppose I was to suggest to the island that the mind don't exist. What would you say?
that the mind doesn't exist at all.
Yeah, at
I would
all.
have to to explain that the mind doesn't exist. How so?
Okay. So what about let's leave it for me. What about the soul? Does the soul exist?
Um, all those things are like concepts. I don't know if they actually exist. They're just the way that people try to explain different aspects of human expression. I don't know if they actually exist. So they just
You
terms.
see, we need to know
Yeah.
because black people have been spending centuries trying to save them soul.
Yes.
So what is it we're trying to save, brother?
Just so I don't. That's a serious one. I mean,
Yeah, man.
the soul is just an illusionary concept. So to try to save your soul, um,
Whoa.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you'd be saving to try to save your soul. It'd have to be something to save. That
So
just
you
seemed like
see,
a that just seemed like
yeah, man.
mm,
So what I'm saying to them, in our look reason here, we have to sort out in our own understanding what you call concepts, and are they practical or are they just theoretical?
most of them are theories. Most of them are theories, and because and most of them are theories, and the validity depends on who you're asking. Because a lot of people will interpret the mind. it's like they're ambiguous things. You could interpret them in all kind of different ways. Like I said,
Yes.
some of them even go interchangeable at times. Depends on who you're speaking to, you know.
Yes.
So, but at the same time, like we all have these internal conversations where the I is speaking internally to the I
Yes.
self. So it's
All
within,
right.
because we all know we have these experiences, is why we use these terms. These terms are like placeholders to explain these variations of ourselves, like how we have so much aspects of the self. To me, that's the best way I could explain it. Like soul, spirit, mind, all of those is just trying to explain different aspects of the self.
Wonderful. But if we hold that construct that you put forward, the question still
Mm,
remains: what is it? Are we saving? What is it we have been told to spend our whole lives trying to save at the expense of doing things to liberate ourselves?
mm. That's a
That
serious
savior,
question. That,
that savior concept, that idea that something we have in our makeup is eternal, and we must make sure it doesn't go into a bad place. That is how the
mm,
religion thing come in.
right.
So if we consciously know that these are just constructs, then we should be able to just put them down and put them in a box as a
We should.
construct and just put it, more than internalize it and try to live it out.
So let me ask you, Dr. Black, as far as in construct and this cliche saying, as far as in liberating the mind, what do you suppose a title for the show?
No, the title is wonderful, Bertrand.
Okay, so
Title is wonderful. It
okay,
just
so for
inspires
the viewers,
investigation now. Yeah, we just use the title to investigate, make some serious investigation.
Because Dr. Black here, this I think I've even said this to Josh before. This explanation that I've always had of the mind, this is just something that came out of I thoughts, right? I often
Yes.
said that the mind is something that exists outside of the individual. For instance, I often say that everyone is a mind reader.
Okay.
Because say for instance, I want to tell you that they have a certain type of liberty they're looking to uphold, or a certain type of lifestyle, or certain things. But when you enter the environment, it's in complete opposition to whatever it is that they speak in. So
Okay.
it's like it's like you already know that it's like the fullness of their mind is their entirety. What's outside, the fullness of the mind is what's manifested outside. That's to me, that's always been the mind. That's why I often
Yeah.
said you could be a mind reader just by looking at someone's environment, because people usually, they actually say, as within, so without. People usually manifest externally whatever they have going on internally.
Internally.
Yeah,
Yes.
so
Yes.
often that's what made I feel that the mind was something that manifested itself externally, you know. But that's just
And
an interpretation. That's just an
but
interpretation the same way.
no, but you can't say it's just an interpretation. That is the I interpretation.
True.
You see, and I can articulate it and defend it if you have to, and advance it if you have to. So what we take our thing, what we say serious, because we're not talking about being 10-year-olds. We kind of study the world a little bit now, and we're talking things that we are almost confident say gossip. You
Right.
know.
True. Yes, sir.
So why I'm saying about the title, liberation of the pigmented man. All of
yes.
those words need to be properly fleshed out. So
Yeah.
if somebody said to you, man, you're not liberated, you can say, well, that's not true because I know my name. So
Right.
we can begin to identify elements of what a liberated brain looks like.
I'm on the camera.
So for example, now the concept of identity is essential.
Mhm.
Who is the I? To speak about a liberation situation. Who is the I? How do you identify the I that is within?
That's a serious question.
Yeah, man.
Who's
So
the I?
this is Josh, the forum is to force questions out of us that we find answers, Because about asking the right question sometimes. And we may not have the answers directly, but people who are listening, they may have answers that they never thought about.
Yes, I. And these are things that I think about just the same. So sometimes the question just
Yeah. So,
reverberate and make you think of it.
yeah, man, flush it out. people are afraid to think, maybe they think that them is them one thing, so until they realize that others are thinking the same way, but not saying it, you know?
True.
So the liberation thing is important because we are connected to a lot of ideas that were given to us through force indoctrination. Ideas like
Yeah.
in the beginning, ideas like salvation, ideas about the afterlife, a lot of
True.
things that are thrown us.
So, Dr. Black, how does the eyesight, as you mentioned, one of those things, they not to the beginning. Does the eyesight there is a thing as the beginning? Where does that we lock off?
Mm-hmm.